The garden in the concrete. He had opened doors that eventually closed. He had invested his savings into dreams that turned to smoke. Each time a business venture failed, the city seemed a little colder, and the shadows of the buildings a little longer. To the world, he was a man who had lost. To himself, he was a man being shaped. People told him to give up, to find a simpler path that didn't require so much risk. But Awais knew that every stumble was a lesson written by a higher power. Allah provides, he whispered to the wind as it whipped through the avenues, and he tests those he loves so they may grow strong. Every evening, when the sun dipped behind the skyscrapers and the neon signs flickered to life, Awais found his sanctuary. On his prayer rug in his small apartment, the noise of the subway and the sirens faded away. He traded the chaos of the city for the silence of his soul. One morning, near a small community garden in Brooklyn, he met an elderly man named Suleiman. Suleiman was tending to a patch of stubborn, dry soil. "The winter was harsh," Suleiman said, looking up with a smile. "But the roots of these flowers are deeper now because they had to search for water." Inspired by the old man's words, Awais decided to start again. He didn't seek a skyscraper this time. He sought a seed. He began a small delivery service using a sturdy old bicycle and the intricate map of the city that he had etched into his mind over a decade of struggle. The work was long, and the climbs over the bridges were steep. Rain soaked his clothes until they clung to his skin, and the winter wind bit at his face. Yet, for every hill he climbed, his faith felt like a warm coat against the chill. He wasn't just delivering packages, he was delivering his best self. Suleiman often watched him pass by the garden. "True wealth isn't what you hold in your hand, Awais," the old man remarked one afternoon as they shared a moment of rest. "It is the steadiness of your heart, when the hand is empty and the world is loud." Slowly, the small service flourished. Trust grew where money had once vanished. People in the neighborhood didn't just buy his service, they were moved by his spirit. He became a familiar face of resilience, a light that the shadows of New York could not dim. Standing on the Brooklyn Bridge as the stars began to peek through the city haze, Awais looked at the skyline. He had lost much in the eyes of the world, but he had gained a soul made of iron and a heart full of light. He was a man of the city, but a servant of the divine, finally at peace.